welcome everybody to episode 7 of Tales from the Tackle Shop. We'll get straight into it. I think we need to mention Richard Chave.
You've got a thing about Richard, haven't you?
I have, because he started it. So those of you that don't know, Richard Chave's one of our contributors from the West Country. Down, is it Somerset, Bristol way?
He's Dorset.
Dorset, is he? And he keeps mentioning the football.
Yeah.
So he's gone all Spursy on us.
Yeah, or have Spurs gone Spursy?
Sorry, Richard, but you did start this. So this is now going to keep going on forever. There's only one team in North London, and North London is very red. And so I watched the Chelsea game. That was quite funny. Then, of course, when Wolves spanked you as well at the weekend. So we just need to drop that one in. I don't think he'll be able to reply to that.
No. Well, you never know. You might get a nice message.
He normally mentions something, doesn't he? Yeah, but he's been a bit quiet lately. So Richard, just thought I'd let you have that one. Obviously, we had Spolt on last week. A little bit disappointed with Spolt.
Why?
No creatures. So I did.
Well, he has to dispose of them humanely, doesn't he?
Did phone in the week before. I said, make sure you got some creatures with you. And yeah, mate, yeah. So we arranged this the week before, and then we were doing it on the Tuesday, which is always a nightmare, isn't it? Because this goes out on the Wednesday, and it's like I get a little paddy on because it takes me for. If we're doing it here, it's really easy for me. But when we do it on location, it's a pain in the ass to edit. But I don't mind doing it because it's good fun. But so Tuesday was Spolt, and then my phone went Tuesday morning, and I missed the call, and it was from Spolt. And you know what it's like when someone's phoning on the day of something. I'm thinking he's going to try and cancel. So by the time I got back in touch with him, he'd already spoken to you.
Yeah, I did my motivation speech, didn't I? Got him back round.
He said, I've just phoned Alex, and Alex won't let me cancel.
No. No.
What did you say to him?
Not a lot, to be honest. I just told him what we were going to talk about, and he goes, oh, go on then. Oh, come on then.
Yeah, so there I went. I picked him up about 2 o'clock, and he wasn't his normal self, bless him.
No, he was still good value, wasn't he? He is a character.
Oh, once we got him to the shop, he loved it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that was good fun. But I think we need to try and just get some. We want to do like a little episode with him just on location, actually doing his nets. But it's a bloody nightmare to work out what's going on. Yeah. And I think a lot of his spots are a bit secretive as well.
Yeah, you don't want other people to find out where they are, do they?
No. Still talking about last week's podcast. Did you want to mention the recipient of the Chip Shop Award?
What, last week or this week?
Last week.
Last week, yes. So, obviously we did give it out quite a bit last week, and to be honest, I was a bit unsure how this person would take it, and fair play to Mr. Page, not you obviously.
No relation, no. He's too tall,
and he's a Spurs fan as well.
Yes, yeah. Another one.
And never mind, chin up. And then so I was sort of is he texting a few of his team, has he said anything about it? And he come in, bless him, on Friday with the a nice little beach ball for his seal.
Oh, I'll drop some pictures in, I'm sure. Yeah. We'll put them in about now. So Matt, well played.
Yeah.
You didn't have too much of a strop.
No, but this week he couldn't get chip shops again because he drew another MPEG.
Oh.
Yeah, another one. Yeah.
So he's quite fortunate with that then, really, isn't he?
But this week's chip shops is
special. Yeah.
I think when we come to it, it's the reason why we did it for this sort of angler. So yeah, it's great.
And so you were because obviously we were coming to the higher echelon of the podcast studio. When we have a briefing before we do this. Yeah, very professional. And you were telling me in the podcast briefing beforehand that quite a few people have actually spoken about this week's chip shopping already, and they're very keen to see him with a t-shirt on.
They certainly are. Yeah.
So you will reveal
in the match results,
the lucky winner of that later. Yeah. There is a third white-shirted Spurs fan I need to mention. Who gives it a lot on social media. Adrian Stokes.
Oh, he's gone quiet, hasn't he? Yeah.
No, there's nothing. No, he's very quick on the older texting when things are going well.
Yep.
But I have noticed he's been very, very quiet.
Man U and Spurs fans just gone real quiet. To be fair, I can't really speak. Newcastle lost 2 matches this week, but we don't give it like the Spurs fans do.
They're a special breed, aren't they? They get very excited
quickly, and then very low quickly as well.
I've never known anything like it, mate. It's unbelievable. So
they're bipolar fans, aren't they? That's what we should call them.
Adrian Stokes, where are you?
Yeah.
I have nothing. Absolutely nothing. They are a special breed, mate.
Yeah.
And they're very hormonal, I find.
Yeah.
Come on, boys. Not hearing a thing.
No,
that's it for the rest of the season. They'll be sulking.
Yeah,
bless them. Right, I popped into the shop back end of last week.
Yep.
Filmed Mike Pollard doing some product videos.
He did, yeah.
So they're pretty good. They'll come out soon. He's really good fun to film, which sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. Because he's just calm. And he's very into the products. So he's very informative. So we'll get those out soon. You'll see those out on Tackle and Bait social media. And I think that brings us up to speed, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
How's the shop been like? Been steady, Eddie?
Yeah. It's been all right. Fridays, Saturdays has been okay. Weekdays it's been, what it is this time of year. Obviously the weatherman ruins, if it says it's going to rain, then it normally doesn't. So people don't turn up because the weatherman says it's going to rain. But yeah, I can't moan. Fishery's still plenty of fish coming out. Obviously, we're allowing keep nets on rook now, which I think we're going to come on to the topic next. So yeah, it is what it is, mate. Just steady away.
What about the numbers for your Wednesday? You got your Wednesday over 60.
Yeah, they're still good. Still 30 plus on a Wednesday.
That's incredible. Isn't
Yeah.
it? That is incredible. What about the Thursday opens? How are they doing?
They slow off. Not as many, sort of 10, 12 this time of year. Just because everyone's back to work. In the summer people have a day off because the weather's good, don't they? This time of year now it's, people that are retired or, have a Thursday off. So they've been a bit slow. The individual winter league started this Sunday. There were some good weights, consistent weights all round the lakes, considering we had the sharp frost this week. So yeah, steady away.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? It's an amazing place. It really is. I keep going on about it, but I just think it's you lot have done so well. Right, okay. So the feature we wanted to talk about was commercial silver fishing, wasn't it? So it's how long ago do you reckon this became a thing?
I don't know. It's sort of fishing goes in phases and fads, doesn't it? And for sort of the previous fad was feeder fishing, which is still very popular now. There's lots of big money competitions in feeder fishing, and the last sort of, I would say, 4 years now, commercial silverfish through the winter has taken off. There's quite a few big money competitions. Obviously, generally commercials, the carp stop feeding. There's a few F1s still feed, but the carp generally sort of switch off, sit in certain areas. And, the facilities you have on commercials, parking behind your peg, breakfast, tackle shop on site, no platforms needed, no mud. For a lot of people, it's a no-brainer. So, obviously, anglers are getting involved, running more and more matches, more venues are having silverfish competitions. And, yeah, they're just, obviously, through the summer, the silverfish are not neglected, but they sort of thrive, really, because they're not being caught, but there's plenty of bait going in. So,
I suppose the carp being very active as well. They don't get the roach. And
no, they might get there first, and the carp come in, and then that's it, then, isn't it? Or whereas through the winter, they're a nice damp fish, and it's just what people want to do.
I think
a few bites.
I think you're right as well. That they are a very nice looking fish because they've not been caught, have they? They've been
No,
neglected.
no, they still feed slightly differently to. Say roach in commercials are a bit more aggressive than what they might be on a canal or a drain or whatever, but it's just a no-brainer. you know, especially the commercial venues that have been around for a long time and they've got big old wise carp. They don't feed. They might feed one day a week, you know, and they're just full of skimmers, roach, big perch, crucians, odd tench. You know, we'll come across some different venues in the area. We're probably in an area where we have the least amount of commercial silverfish venues, probably because we are more, our commercials are F1 and carp dominated, to be honest, and the fact that the drains are so good through the winter. I mean, you go around the Midlands, you've got big commercials like Barston, Meadowlands, Packington. There's Rycroft, you know, you've got lots of leagues and matches going on there with some serious anglers fishing it, and we haven't really got that round here.
Yeah.
We've got some sort of smaller commercials where, you know, it has to get really cold for the silvers to sort of play dividends. But, I mean, obviously, at Rookery, at our place, we've got the Big Lake Rook, which sort of the last 3 or 4 years, it's got more and more popular with commercial silvers, roach, skimmers, perch, bit of waggler fishing, a little bit of feeder fishing for the skimmers, waggler for roach and rudd. And, you know, when the weather's still fairly mild, you're looking at sort of 40, 50 pound of silvers, which is, in the winter, you're busy. You don't need loads of bait, you're just getting bites, and I think that's what people want. Other venues, Float Fish Farm, this year there's some sort of Rob Lincoln's been running some Saturday open matches, which again, plenty of bites. You know, the venues are more carp dominated, so, you know, they're deep as well. So it's nice fishing, skimmers and roach again, and odd-eyed in some of the lakes. Other venues, you've got... what's it called? Doddington, Fields End Ward. Yeah. Now, obviously, they don't have keep nets or anything there, but the fishing in the pit, which is the original one, the roach are massive. You know.
Is that the one, the bowl, the first one?
Yes. Yeah, the bigger one.
Yeah. Did I take you lot there?
No.
I took some school trips there, and it was very slow.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, they're big carp in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There was always some crucians. Don't think there's any skimmers in there, but it's just full of big roach. So it's another venue, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Lawn Farm, they run a silverfish open.
Where's that one?
That's Camborne.
I don't know that one.
So they were probably one of the original commercials around here to do a silverfish match on the big lake. And that's sort of 8-9 foot deep, lots of skimmers, there's some chub, just general silvers.
What's the one,
Kingsland Reservoir?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
does that still exist?
the complex it's phenomenal fishing for carp. You know, silly weights even through the winter. But the silverfish lake is now full of carp.
It used to have some big chub, didn't it?
Oh, amazing fishing! Absolutely amazing.
Are they all gone?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, they've probably been gone 10 years now. I
Really?
think. Yeah. Yeah. Just full of carp now. It was phenomenal, you know, big tench, loads of like 2 to 4 pound tench, chub, skimmers, crucians, you name it, everything in there was a good size and you could do a weight of them. I think one match I had 120 pound there one day, 124 pound of tench, shallow.
Oh, tench shallow?
Yeah, on casters. That was before the casters or caster took off on commercials, and the guy that won it had 184 pound.
Wow.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it? Phenomenal fishing that was, but I really think we'll struggle to find anywhere like that now.
Is that because of the bait that's going with it for the carp, and they're just...
I don't know, it was one of the first just silverfish lakes about, and I think all the fish got to a certain size and a certain age, and like in anything, silverfish don't live as long as what carp do, and a few oxygen problems here and there, and then all of a sudden you get a boom of rudd and a couple of carp get put in and the whole lake changes.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Yeah, so obviously Lawn Farm, you know, fantastic silverfish venue. The other one I haven't mentioned is Northview Fishery at Gedney Hill.
Oh yeah.
Obviously I know a few of the lads last year were taking a lot of the silverfish out of the specimen lake to put in some of the pleasure lakes. So there's a fantastic head of skimmers and roach and things like that in those. Buttonhole
Yes.
was always good.
Buttonhole, yeah.
Buttonhole was always good for silvers. So there's plenty of options. You know, it's not all carp on these commercials, and obviously the gear and everything's changed. You know,
Well, should we talk about that next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought some stuff in, which is cool.
Yeah.
So if you were going to target the roach, I suppose you target the roach and the skimmers, wouldn't you? But you've still got to have some strength in your kit because you are going to hook the odd carp.
Yeah. Obviously, commercials are all barbless only. So hook pattern wise, there's, 3 years ago there was sort of Drennan silverfish match and gamma green and gamma black. They were pretty much the only fine barbless silverfish hooks you could get. Still very popular, obviously. So nowadays there's pretty much most manufacturers do them. I mean, they're the original, sort of the OGs, the old
The OGs, a lot of that, yeah.
the silverfish match, which there's nothing wrong with those.
Yeah.
Strong hook. What you got to remember is you're fishing a lot of sort of casters and things like that. So these are the old gamma greens, gamma blacks. They're probably still the most popular. The black is slightly stronger gauge than a green, not as long a point maybe as a green, but gamma greens are probably the most popular bloodworm hook, but for commercial silvers, it's a fantastic hook as well.
And what size are we looking at there?
Well, because it's commercials and you fish in casters and maggots, you don't need to go as small as what you would perhaps go on the drain. So they use 16s, 18s, you're fishing little worm heads, or you might be slipping an expander pellet on one of these for some skimmers, casters, maggots. Just 16s, 18s are general, and because they're more aggressive, obviously, on commercial. So another sort of range of hooks, which super sharp. I know a lot of the Drennan boys rage about these, and they're the Acolyte hooks. They're a little bit more money than your normal hooks, but the point staying on really well. So if you're catching sort of 150 fish on casters or worms, and 1 minute you're catching a roach or a skimmer, they're just fantastic. The point staying on really well.
And are these products that have literally the tackle companies have brought out the last 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, I mean the gamma greens and blacks have been around forever, same as those, but there's more people looking for these products now.
Right, okay, that's good. I mean?
So
the tackle companies have actually realised that there's a demand for it.
Yeah, a bit like the feeders, there's everything, the market changes to what people want. These are a very good hook. A lot of people probably haven't seen these. These are from Hydra. They're a black nickel, obviously barbless. Similar to a gamma black, but the points are slightly longer on them. They are fantastic. And obviously Simon's bought a range of ready tides to complement them, which is, you can't go wrong really. So he does like an 18 to 09, 16 to 010, and a 20 to 08, which is bang on really. You don't want any heavier than that on commercial venues, because if you hook a carp, you don't want to be using 012 and playing it all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're $3.99.
We were talking about those in the shop.
Value.
Because we were talking about those with Polly, and we can't believe they're £4 a packet. And how many hooks do you get?
You get 10, I think.
And they're hand tied.
Yeah.
So somebody
on fluorocarbon as well.
It's like £4, and the hooks are. We were working out whether you could buy the hooks are cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
It's mad.
Yeah.
Then obviously the original Drennan silverfish maggot or silverfish match, they do them ready tied.
Now this amazes me that. I remember when I was helping you out in the shop a couple of years ago, we were amazed how many people don't buy Drennan, and it's all done and dusted. It's like in perfect packs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it still the same? Some people who have clicked buy it, but
I think because they were new, people didn't realise what it was all about.
Right.
But now these sell through really well.
Yeah, because it was amazing how Drennan just brought out this whole range of ready-made, ready-tied, and it was just really good, wasn't it? And again, value for money was fantastic, and we were going. It's like the people who are buying it kind of know, and everyone else doesn't know.
Yeah.
But now you reckon that most people got up to speed with it.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Been obviously line and rigs. basically you just need to, you know, Preston shanties. It depends on the depth of the venue, what you're fishing for. Obviously, knowing the silverfish venues, most of them are sort of 8-9 foot. So you're probably looking at sort of a gram rig. If you're fishing for roach, you're sort of fishing through the water. You're probably loose feeding with casters or maggots and sort of catching everything on the full. Nice fishing. And if you're fishing for skimmers, you're probably fishing a bit more of a roundy bodied float, trying to hold on to it, laying on a little bit. And the key thing is you don't need heavy elastics for this time of year. You know, like obviously the most popular Preston slip, which is 5s and 6 Preston, even 4s. You'd probably use a 4 more for skimmers if you're fishing for roach, and you know, bigger fish. A 5 and a 6 would be more sort of what you're after, but a 4 through 3 is absolutely perfect for skimmers.
So hold on a minute, when you say 4 through 3...
So through a longer section rather than just one section. So when you hook a skimmer, they tend not to fight very hard, and you're more sort of shipping back against a dead weight that's just moving the head slightly. So a soft elastic is better.
And when it's through more sections...
you've got more stretch.
More stretch.
Yeah, obviously, which isn't good when you hook a carp, but it's sort of getting the right balance.
But you still get the carp in, because they're going to be a bit more dopier, aren't they, as well, in the winter?
I mean, obviously, hybrid elastics... Every company's doing them. They do them from really light greys now, but
well, explain to me why it's called hybrid.
So it basically has all the qualities of both. So there's all the qualities of hollow elastic, making it stretch further and softer, but because it's obviously a solid, it does last quite a while. It's cheaper as well.
So solid elastic lasts longer than hollow?
No. I got that wrong. So hollow elastic does last longer normally, but this in colder weather, the solid elastic works better.
Right.
Because hollow elastic tends to go hard when it gets cold. Obviously, the warmer it is, the more it's...
Because of the air inside, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know if it's that, it's softer through the summer.
Thinner as well, isn't it? Thinner
it just warms up. So there you sort of 3 hybrids, and then obviously tried and tested yellow hydro, 3 to 5. You can't go wrong with that. That'll last forever in a top kit. You don't have to change it.
Is elastic then very much personal preference?
It is, yeah. But there's so much available. It's a bit like floats. Terminal is part of the terminal tackle. Everyone favours different things, but like say you was fishing at March, everyone uses Preston 5 and 6, but you know, when you're trying to swing in decent stamp fish, you only want it for a shorter length of pole rather than a longer length of pole, and just little bits like that do make big differences.
Why does everybody use Preston 5 and 6?
Because it does the job, yeah.
The standard roach?
Yeah, it is. It's just fantastic. They had a few issues with the 5, but that's all been sorted out now. It's just, I love it. You know, 5 and 6 Preston. It's like everyone has a hook pattern that they try different ones, and then all of a sudden they always go back to it.
Yeah.
And that is the one everyone goes back to and go, well, why am I trying anything different? You know, a bit like Maxima, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's elastic.
It is strange. I was just thinking of you know, when you went perch fishing with me last year, those hooks that I was using on that oh crikey, what was it? On that rig, I forgot the name of the rig. They were
Texas rig.
No, it was a Chave.
Chave, that's it.
If I went up the next size, the hooks were too heavy for the bait.
Yeah.
And it had to be a certain diameter of wire for it to work. But so I've got different make hooks for that size, but I won't use them in that particular situation.
Yeah.
It's just what you know.
Yeah.
And also it's what you're confident with, because it might not actually be the best way, but you've got, as an angler, it works for you. So I can see how there's so many combinations everyone can come up with here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we go fishing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's part of the hobby.
And is it? Do people have are they very much? Are they very a bit like Adrian Stokes and Richard Chave and Matt Page? Are they kind of like devotees to one particular brand and football team, even though they're very mistaken?
I think maybe for luggage and bigger items, But when it comes to terminal tackle, you want the best, don't you? And a lot of anglers you've got to mix and match to get the right balance for you.
Those three probably just stick to like the one that just does it at the beginning of a session.
Yeah.
You get halfway through the session, they've got a blunt hook.
Yeah.
They haven't changed a hook, have
No.
they?
No.
Bless them.
But, yeah.
And they come mid-table.
Who, Spurs?
Yeah, if they're lucky.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know what made me mention that.
You just got to think about them.
It's just
they've
hatred
got
of
into you,
Spurs.
haven't they? They've just got
It
into
was
your
that.
skin.
It was Chave's comments a few weeks ago.
It?
It was totally uncalled for.
It worked, didn't it?
It's got me. Right.
So, obviously, commercial silvers, you've got to look for areas where to target.
I know I was going to ask you. You see, you've mentioned pole fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would be taking a waggler because that's in the winter. I'd want to chuck it out, sink my line, fish off on the drop off or something.
Yeah.
And put my hands like this. Wait for the tip to bury.
Well, you know what you need to do is go carp fishing then.
Well, no, 2 or 3 minutes. Chuck it out again because is there a place for that still?
There is. Obviously, it depends on the venue. A lot of the commercials depends on what you're fishing for. I mean, Rookford is a prime example where waggler does work, but it's busy fishing, so you sort of firing 4 or 5 casters, sort of chucking past your feed. If you don't get a bite, it's sort of like pellet waggler fishing, but you're fishing for silvers with casters. So you're chucking past your feed, you might catch some bigger roach or bigger rudd on the drop. So you've got hardly any weight down your line, so it takes quite a while to sink. Little bites, striking at everything. So that's really enjoyable fishing. But not every commercial's got the stock in the same. Do you know what I mean? Like you could go to a particular venue like what Kingston used to be. It was in the winter you'd take 6 pints of maggots and just keep chucking a waggler and firing in maggots and find out what depth, and then all of a sudden you start catching a 3-pound chub every chuck. Yeah. So that's a phenomenal way of fishing, but it's still the same principles. 4, 5, 6 casters or whatever you're feeding, depending on the day. Chuck past it. If you don't get a bite, you sort of wind it into your feed. If you don't get a bite, then you wind in and just keep repeating the process. So you've got that column of bait going through the water and you're sort of searching your peg. It's why the waggler works. I mean, if you were just general waggler fishing, then obviously you target it the same sort of principles as pole fishing short. Yeah.
What about using the tip feeder?
Feeder, yeah. I mean, the venues to us is only really probably Rook where you could fish a little feeder. Most of the others are smaller commercials, and because you're fishing for roach, most of the time it's on the pole or float. Yeah. If you were skimmer fishing, you'd probably you could go down the pellet route, which is a phenomenal way of catching skimmers. You can put a maggot in front of them, you don't get a bite. You feed like you're going to fish for a carp, and you catch skimmers.
So why is that, do you think?
Skimmers love pellets, and they're so used to it.
They're used to it, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was for. Yeah. It's been their staple food source for months, I suppose.
They don't have to chase it. They don't, it's not going anywhere off the bottom. It's what they're used to. Even roach, big roach, crucians, everything will eat pellets in commercials. That's
I suppose it's breaking down. They're probably like the change in the consistency of it, the texture.
They do. They're like soft baits, don't they? I mean, luncheon meat. Skimmers love luncheon meat.
Do they really?
Yeah, absolutely love it, yeah. Yeah, it's nice and soft. It's full of protein, sinks slow. I love it. Obviously not so much this time of year, but when the water temperatures, rises a little bit in the spring, everything wants to eat meat.
Yeah, I suppose just after they spawned as well, they want to get the protein
That's
inside
it.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes sense. Right, I stopped you if you were going to go on to ground bait.
Well, yeah, we were sort of talking about where to sort of locate to catch certain fish. If you were fishing on the drains for silvers, you're probably not going to feed a line down the edge. But on commercials, you've got to look for cover, look for features, and little and often will always pay off. You might not catch down there to start off with, but these skimmers and roach, like the carp, are used to anglers packing away later on, chucking bait away, and sort of, you might not catch right in the edges, but just off the edges. They're used to being in that routine of looking for food in those places. So, you might be feeding maggots really short all day, catching an odd fish, and then sort of the last couple of hours of your session or the match, all of a sudden, every fish you catch is your biggest fish.
Right, so they're going to behave very similar to the carp.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's what you got to remember when you're fishing commercials.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
but you can't put too much bait in to start, because these fish are used to lots of anglers shipping out with little pots in the pole, just tapping a few pellets in, you know, in real tight little areas. So you have to sort of bear that in mind as well. That's why when you're pellet fishing, you're pretty much copying what you're doing with when you're catching F1s and that, but you probably, you know, you're still the same, 2 or 3 fish and they back off, and feeding still the same.
So I filmed you last year. So
yeah,
there's a video on the channel, and it's Alex fishing rook, and that happened, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
You had you catch a skimmer or two, and then nothing. And I was amazed watching, thinking, this is crazy fishing. It's like you catch 2 in 2 casts, and then you were telling me that they've backed off. They don't like the disturbance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that would have happened, but
it's clear.
Yeah.
You know, they see what's going on, and
we noticed this on the middle level, didn't we, as well? You get two or three skimmers on the feeder.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's flashing. They just seem to know something's wrong, and they move.
Yeah, definitely.
Skimmers are buggers, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were targeting roach, then normally it's all about loose feeding.
Yeah.
You know, creating that volume of bait going through the water, catching on light rigs. Just lovely way of fishing, really. You know, just dinking a few casters in, laying your rig and catching a few past it, a few here, a few there. And it depends on the venue, obviously. Depends on the venue and what fish you're catching, but casters, maggots and pellets are your free baits, and obviously pinkies, depending on what you're doing. But if you took sort of a couple of pints of casters, pint and a half of maggots, and a pint of micros and some expanders, simple bait, you know, and some ground bait. Obviously, there's tons and tons and tons of sweet fish meal ground bait. There's strong fish meal, and there's obviously your normal non-fish meal ground baits as well. But I don't think there's a commercial in the country where I would not put fish meal in. Because,
so tell me why.
Because they're so used to pellets and boilies and
right.
everything.
Okay. So it's replicating again what's gone in for the summer for the carp.
Yeah, I mean, it's even going that way on venues like the Broads, and that fish meal ground bait outfishes your normal sweet ground bait. You know, you fish the Trent and you're catching pound roach on pellets, more on pellets than you do on a bit of emp, you know, over a pound. So the fish are used to it now.
Do you think it's because it's so much has gone in, they've got condition to it?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. Obviously the ground bait mixes, the Old Faithfuls, F1 Dark is probably the most popular one. Obviously there's a lot of crushed expanders in there, fantastic ground bait, and mixed with Thatchers. I think most commercial anglers mix 50-50 Thatchers and F1 Dark. So yeah, that's a very, very popular mix. This one's sort of gaining popularity is the mainline match F1. That is seriously sweet, mixes up beautiful. Obviously in a kilo bag. You can do what you want, you know, as it gets colder, a lot of anglers will sieve the bigger particles out of these, and so it's a lot finer for skimmers and roach. They also do like a sweet marine, which is like halibut, crushed halibut, which obviously a lot of these commercials see halibut pellets. Plus halibut stays there, it doesn't, you know, crushed expander obviously goes really soft, whereas obviously crushed halibut, it stays hard. And then ground bait that I use a lot for commercials, silvers, is the green breen. There's quite a few bigger particles in there, but I just riddle that off so it's nice and fine through the winter, and just one bag does it all really. Again, Dynamite do a host of silks, sweet fish meal. Obviously then you've got ringers natural, ringers dark, ringers cocoa, you know, probably the best breeding ground bait on the market. So what you'd use for carp, you're pretty much using for commercials in the winter. Just being a bit more negative with your feeding, you know, don't feed lots of bait because you're probably going to attract the carp into your swim, so you have to bear that in mind.
So would you have that as a cloud? Is it dispersed through the water column, or
it's like any fishing? You can do all sorts, can't you? But sometimes just feeding little sort of marbly sort of size balls with a few mince worms in or a few dead maggots and popping them in, and the fish obviously right on your float. The fish follow it down. You get a couple. You know, just little things like that. You can make little balls of micros if you're fishing expanders and things. It's busy fishing. It's nice fishing. Because you can feed a lot of commercial carp fish. Fishing through the winter is more about locating them rather than them coming to find you with food.
Also dobbing around with a bit of bread and
chucking some blend usually chucking a wafter in the middle of nowhere on a method, waiting 20 minutes, wind it in, chuck it back out. You can see why this fishing is taken off massively, because plenty of bites. Double figures of silvers on a freezing cold day, or 3 bites for £30 on a method feeder. I know what I'd prefer, but each to their own.
That's really, really good. I had loads of questions then, and my brain's just been scrambled because I was just imagining it all.
Yeah.
That's really cool. There was something I was going to ask you. I know it's a question, and it stems from video in Polly last week when he was talking about ground baits. Mm-hmm. How much food nutrition for the fish is in those ground baits?
Not a clue.
Because he was saying in the ground baits he was showing for his mixes, it's actually the brown crumb that's got the food stuff in.
Right.
And that's why he puts brown crumb in with the mixes. Would you put any brown crumb in with that?
No.
So it's very much a stimulant.
Yeah, I think they're so used to it as well. I think the crushed expanders is a key thing for skimmers and a lot of commercials because they see so much. That's why I was sort of highlighting the fact you've got the sort of your F1 dark, which is full of crushed expander, whereas obviously the halibut type ground baits are a harder, coarser.
Yeah.
So you've got sort of a bit of both there. Again, the consistency of how you feed it. Do you feed it wet? Do you feed it dry? Little things like that can make a big difference. If you feed it dry, the way it breaks down, and it could be all. You could add lean to it to make a bit of cloud.
So that's interesting. I'd imagine that's got a lot of attractant, but not much food.
I think they're quite high. The bigger particles. That's why obviously you riddle it out.
Yeah.
The colder it is, the finer the ground bait.
You don't want it to have the food.
No, not really.
No.
Enough. It's just enough to draw them in, and a lot of the time you want them to take your hook bait, don't you?
Yes.
So
that's
it's
why
like
putting maggots in and pellet is what on top, because that's the food item, isn't it?
Yeah. It's all the particles.
Yeah. This is interesting. I'll tell you why I'm really interested, because from my lure fishing hat on, I'm thinking of my brain scrambled about gels and oils on lures, because I don't work out how it can help. But there's a big thing now. Berkeley have brought something out called Berkeley Gulp, which is an amino acid. Right. Have you heard of this in carp fishing?
Amino, amino is everything in carp, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been banned, I think, hasn't it, in some places, because I don't know it in details. People watching this will know far more than me. Mm-hmm. But there's a big drive now to get any oil-based product. It's been deemed as, how can it work? Because the oil doesn't dissolve in the water. Whether it's more of an amino-based product or that type of thing, it's got the possibility of working. So that's why now I'm thinking about ground baits. They are probably they're an attractant, aren't they? You don't want too much of a food item in it, because obviously you're going to feed up what you're trying to catch. Mm-hmm. But there has to be an amount to draw them in. So that's what made me think about it, because it's all interesting stuff. And you could go to town on it in your head, couldn't you? I bet some anglers get really scientific about it.
Yeah, some anglers are very technical and sort of sometimes overcomplicate it, and then you've got an angler that's just naturally doesn't think about it, but what they're doing is right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there's always that argument, isn't there? Some anglers are mechanically very good, and some anglers are just naturally awesome.
There's one ground bait that you guys use. I think it's Banter 9.
Right, G5.
There's a certain smell that I recognise from years ago.
Super Cut, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, Super Cut.
Yeah. It's like, I remember that from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I mean, we as a sort of nation, we know quite a bit about ground bait, but on the continent, they're so far ahead of us with ground bait. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet.
Ingredients doing different things, and you know, the Dutch, Belgium, the French are like unbelievable. You know, and even now like Poland, Serbia, all them countries are growing massively, and their ground bait is just so much fresher than ours, I suppose.
What do you think we would be in on this?
Yeah.
Why are we not?
I think because our fishing is different to theirs. Theirs is all continental style. Everyone fishes at 13 metres. So I think they pay more attention to their ground bait. I mean, obviously the top anglers in this country are on it. Do you know what I mean? But we can just buy a bag off the shelf, mix it, and away we go. You know, it's. I think they haven't got the options like we have. I don't think there's Census or Van den Einde or Gears or Champion Feed. There's not, you know, and they don't have the fish meal ground baits we have. They do. So
we're a bit spoiled, really.
Meal. Yeah,
we've got more options. Therefore, people tend not to work too much. Yeah. Okay, right. I found this really interesting. So thanks for bringing those in, because I was visualising it all, going, yeah. So guys, I hope that's been very informative, because this is something that's going to, in the next few months, be quite a good thing to do, isn't it? And I know we've been a bit biased talking about rook, but it is a fantastic lake.
Yeah, but it's not just rook. The same things work on most commercials.
Yeah, and there'll be a commercial near you that's got some great silverfish fishing.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
So take advantage of it over the winter months. Right, shall we get onto the match results?
Yeah.
Right, I'm not sure what's coming from the guys, because it's a bit of a Hail Mary. So at this point in the podcast, we'll drop in the match results from our guys around the country. So if I drop them in kind of now.
Hi there, Richard Chave from the Southwest. Going to do this week's report on the practice match for the Upper Thames Winter League. This week the practice match fished on the Kent and Avon Canal at Devizes Water. Fished between Horton and Honey Street. I mentioned in my sort of Facebook post, I haven't really fished Honey Street for probably 20 years. It's one of those sort of classic venues that used to be sort of fished on the K&A sort of fairly regularly, but it was nice to go back there. Anyway, there's 33 pegs out, and it fished fairly well. There were 6 double figure weights, and spread throughout the sections as well. First up was Martin Barrett fishing for Preston Innovations Thatchers. Martin, or Plod to his friends, he's a retired policeman, Martin. He weighed £16.4. He had I've seen his net. I've got a picture of it, Andy. I'm sure we'll put it in now. But he had skimmers, breamed probably £3, a few perch, martinfish, chopworm on the pole, and maggot. Really talented angler for second, actually, I'll be joking, it's me. I came second from an end peg. Last peg in the match length, really nice to draw, that sort of thing. £12.5. I've had a couple of perch, about £1 each, and some quite nice hybrids. There's quite a few hybrids in that pound. It's a really odd one. It's about 30 miles between locks, so it doesn't really flow much. It goes back towards the other side of Pewsey, almost into Devizes without any locks. And there's an awful lot of hybrids in there, but that's what I had. £12.5 on the chopworm and a couple on maggot. Tony Randall was third. Tony was drawn down at Horton. He fished for Matrix Talisman. Tony had £11.15 and was moaning at me at the end that he's lost a few fish. But, you know, that's your fault, Elvis. Anyway, so yeah, Tony's had some skimmers as well. Kev Morris, also at Horton. Kev's from fishing for Devizes Census Devizes even. Kev's had £11.9. I spoke to him afterwards. He had all small fish, or, you know, they couldn't have been too small for £11, but there weren't any skimmers. It was sort of mostly roach and hybrids, that sort of thing. Right, Dan McDonald, he was sort of drawn next to Elvis, but the other side of the swing bridge on peg 6 at Horton. Dan's had £11, 1.5. And then finishing up the frame, Mick Gale, Matrix Talisman. Mick was down in my section in the 30s. Well, actually, she's 28, but yeah, the other end of my section. Mick's had £10.5. Had a roach for probably 6 ounces on sort of caster down the middle. Lovely net of fish. So there you go. Next week's match has already been called off the river because, sorry, I'm coughing again this week. I'm sure I'm almost over it. It's been called off the river already because it's up. We're back on the canal where we were last week. Hopefully we'll get a better draw this this week coming. So there we go. Ta-ta for now, or over and out, or whatever Motty says. And yeah, see you all next week. Bye.
Hi guys, hope you're well. Got the results here for the 5th round of the Avon Valley Winter League. This round again was split between Gold Valley Lakes and the Basingstoke Canal. We'll start off with the individual results. At Gold, it was split between the middle and the main Gold, and all the top weights, top 3 came from main Gold. Method wise, it was no surprise. Method feeder, bomb and pellet, and quite a few big fish coming out on the pellet waggler. So first on the day was John Brown, Reeve Home Stores, 84.4. Second was Chris Dawkins, Allen's Marine, with 64.6. And third was Adrian Fuller of Colmick Target Fish UK Sussex with £60.6. Well done guys, nice weights there. Top 3 on the canal was Dan Carey coming out top, Apollo Angler, 14-1, cracking net of fish Dan had, predominantly catching skimmers and cut the bonus bream, £2.5. It's even included a pound roach, all fall into bread punch. So well done Dan, lovely result there. Second was Simon Drew, 9.14. The Oakwood Angler was drawn at the green shed section on the bushes there, some cracking perch, all to chop worm. And third was Dave Abbott, Allen's Marine, £9.3. Again, he was in the same section as Dan Carey, which was, let's get this right, towards Sylvester's Bridge, the walkover bridge there. Dave's caught on Groundbait and Pinky over. Well done, lads. Some good sport there. Overall, the canal did fish, you know, hard to be expected, but the middle sections had a bit of colour and the skimmers did show there. Onto the main results on the day, team-wise. A little bit of an upset with first and second beforehand, Drennan Borden and Sussex dropping some points on the day, but we'll come to that in a bit. So top teams on the day, there was a tie for first. Dara Dorkin and Apollo Angling on 57. Apollo came out on top. Well done, lads. Good result for you. With 3 section wins to 1. There was a tie for third. Census Oakwood and Drennan Borden. Again, 2 sections to 1 in favour of Oakwood. And 5th on the day was Colmick Target Fish UK with 45. So really tight on the day. Not much changed in the league, very tight. With 1 round to go, Drennan Borden are leading the way and have now qualified for the final with 1 round to spare. So well done guys, really good overall performance from you. So there, Drennan Borden 10, Dara Dorkin, their second yesterday, puts them on 14, and Colmick Target Fish UK Sussex on 15. So all to play for a couple of qualifying places. Don't think much will change there, but who knows? Who knows? Last round's in 3 weeks' time on the Kennet and Avon. We've got an open in 2 weeks, so I'll give you the results then. Until then, have a great couple of weeks. Catch plenty from all at Borden Angling.
Oh, I just reporting on the Angling Trust, the Warwickshire division on the Beeston Canal. There's some really good weights. Obviously, the weather, fish are shoaling up, I think, this time of year, but it's just some tremendous weights on there. I think it's in the town. Never fished the Beeston, but I think it's in Nottingham, I think, in the town. So it's obviously an area where they probably shoal up and stuff like that. But first is Nicky Moss, Drennan Leicester. He's had a fantastic 21.314, 200 roach on Brennan Caster. So lovely days fishing that. Second, James South, Cadent Super Team, £15.1, all roach again, hemp and caster. Third, Glenn Law from the Sparks team. He's had £12.11, that's all roach. Brilliant weights. Fourth, Dougie Jackson, Browning Central, £12.1. Fifth, Ant South, he's at £11, and finishing off the frame with 7.10.8, Dave McCall, and he's from the Cadent Super Team. Teams on the day quite tight at the top, to be fair. Team Cadence out in front, 22. Next, we had a tie with Sparks and Browning Central, but Browning Central got it on section count back. they've had 23. So Sparks have got 23 as well. Three Counties 25, and then Drennan Leicester, they've had 27, which leaves the league. Out in front is Cadent Super Team with 6 points. So they're looking favourites to win the league. I'm pretty certain 2 teams go up in this league for the final. So you've got the next is Drennan Leicester on 11 and Browning Central on 12. So there's a right battle there for second place. And Sparks aren't too far behind. They've got 14 and 3 Counties on 18. So it's close for that, for that second qualification spot. It's a bit of a battle going on. So that's it for this week. Back reporting on the Isaac Walton Stafford League, which is this Sunday. That's round 5, so we'll see what happens there. But as Chave pointed out the other week, over and out.
Right, guys, thanks for those results. It's big ask that I've asked these lads to do, but they're every week they're getting quite good. I get some nice little videos and pictures.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see the varied winter leagues as well. Like our league is coming to bagging. A lot of the winter leagues, some of them are finished. Obviously, Ben Taylor's that league there's finished, and you still got Steve Barnett's league, and it's all really tight, and obviously Richard Chave. Theirs is a lot of canal fishing now. The rivers have sort of flooded type of thing, and lots of perch and skimmers, and it's just so varied, isn't it, up and down the country?
It is. I find match angling, even though I did it when I was a kid, I find it the most bizarrest thing ever. Yeah. Everyone's kind of the amount of gear that everyone takes, and everyone's like so in tuned with what's happening on that little peg of theirs. Yeah. Yeah. It's I can see how people get into it. It's good. We ought to get some of the guys on actually as guests. Yeah. So the reason I'm saying this on the podcast is to see if they'll step up and volunteer without us having to press gang them. I think who should we pick on first? We'll do this off air, shall we? Yeah. It
depends if Arsenal are doing any good, I suppose.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah, if we keep going, and we could have he'd have to make him wear an Arsenal shirt.
No, he won't come, will he?
No. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Right, let's get on to our match results. So obviously we'll start out in Lincolnshire.
So flip me out.
Chris Hodson has messaged in, as always. Thanks for doing that, Chris. Every Monday the phone goes and I go, that's Chris. Yeah. Without fail. Brilliant.
Spot
on. So this week, or I should say last week, Dave Ashmore carried on his remarkable run of form on the River Steeping, winning both matches in a week. Both matches this week were made up with predominantly small roach weights, with the double-figure catches from the last few years failing to materialise. There is also a strange lack of perch being caught along the length for reasons unknown. Emoji.
Maybe it's colour and it's not as cold as it yet, really. We ain't had that cold snap.
Fishing's great because I'll finish this off.
Every year's different.
Yeah, I'll finish this off and I'll say what we were talking about last week. So Wednesday 8th of November they had 10 fishing. First was Dave Ashmore with £7.7. Second was Dave Dean with £3.14, and third was Alan Slater with £3.13.
Oh.
Sunday the 12th of November they had 24 fishing, which is a really good turnout. Dave Ashmore was first again, as we know, with £6.13. Oh, a bonus bream. The pet bream made an appearance. Second was Mick Stamp with £5.12, and third was Paul Dent with £4.15. So Chris, thanks for those. What I was going to say to you, mate, was do you remember a couple of years ago the weights out here on the Nene were crap?
Yeah, we had a year, didn't we? Where just very odd, wasn't it?
What happened there? Where did those fish go? They obviously weren't in the river in numbers. They obviously had gone somewhere else.
I don't know, mate. Honestly,
it's bizarre. So it's like these guys are saying, where have the perch gone? So 2 years ago, it was doom and gloom. What's happened to the Magic River? Last year it came back with a vengeance, and this year, as we'll find out,
I think it'll be even better this year.
It's gone mad again. Yeah. So those fish they weren't not feeding, because they're not going to feed over the whole winter. They've obviously didn't come in numbers.
No, it's each year's slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about fishing. It all changes all the time. Right, I mean, have you got many match results?
We haven't got many, no. I suppose the next one is we'll do the Ramsey. They was on Factory Bank again. Not so much flow, not as much colour. The low number pegs obviously dominate like always. Peg 2 was Ashley King. Excuse me.
Did you work out last week if they pegged it in reverse?
No, what happened, right, is peg 1 was where peg 1 is, but peg 9 was actually -1. Proper Fenland way of doing it.
Hold on, say that again.
So peg 1 was actually where peg 1 was.
Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 where they normally are. So 9, 10...
But 9 turned into -1.5 for some reason.
So 9, 10, 11, 12 were in between. Is that right?
There was only 9 of them fished. So the end peg would have been where 9 was, but for some reason they had to move him. So he was peg before peg 1. So he was -1. Really.
But only that peg? Only
Yeah.
peg 9?
Yeah.
So peg 9 went to peg 0?
Basically, yeah.
That's-
Which is in the mill, in the concrete bit, and every fish in the river lives there. But you still got to catch him.
Oh, that's funny. That is only
yeah.
in the fens, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
only
thought
in the
I
fens.
thought they were like doing like you do on TID. Sometimes they put them in half
pegs.
Yeah,
No. So this week Ash King was on permanent peg 2, £24.6. Excuse me, falling asleep here. Runner up was Danny Needham, £22.6 from peg 1. Then Paul Kilby, he was about peg 8 or 9. He had £10.12, and then Ken Taylor £9.3. So the backup weights weren't as good this week, obviously due to the flow and the colour, but still decent weights.
Has the colour dropped out of everywhere?
Yes, absolutely tap water. The drains, I think, are on a different. They've changed the way they're making them. They're dropping them really low. I mean, the river out here at March last week was one of the lowest I've ever seen it. It was really low, and they were running it hard, and then they just leave it, and it just stands for a couple of days, and then they run it real hard again. So I think in general the drains are a lot lower, which is not a good thing, to be honest, because there's not a lot of water in Bennett the best of days. So not sure about that. Obviously it's all about keeping the houses safe, so we'll see what happens with that. Moving to Whittlesey Dyke, obviously they've been having some decent matches. They're 18 in attendance on their match this week, which is awesome for a Saturday on a drain. The weights were very low this week. Gary Whitwell, £2.10. Mark Barron, Mr. Second himself, £2.4. Andy Lawrence, £1.11, and then Gary Burton, £1.8. So they all struggled until the last hour, which has been a bit of a thing on all the drains apart from March and the Bennett centre sections. So yeah, not so good weights for those guys this week, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of them back out next week, which I think is the Frank Bavaleka match that Jeff Tuttleby runs. So they're on, I think they'll be on Carrot Wash, Ramsey Narrows, Ramsey St Mary's and Raveley maybe. I don't know, it depends how many's fishing, but it's always a good match. And then the Tuesday club, they were at Raveley. Mike Mowen, £10.6, Bob Fitztench, £9.7, Tony Fenn, £7.11, and then Windmill Steve, £6.11. So lots of small little skimmery like bottle top things. So yeah, decent enough weights there. And then obviously the main sort of East Midlands Winter League practice match at March,
which you were so looking forward to.
Yeah, just for I was so looking forward to it because it's my favourite venue for the fishing side of things. Obviously, access and things like that, getting down to the bank isn't great, but for me, there's no other venue like it this time of year. When it comes to after Christmas, obviously a lot of teams come down practicing, seeing all the big weights and thinking, I need this, and and it's completely different after Christmas.
Yeah.
The fish have
been hammered.
No, I don't know about that. I think when the actual Winter League final comes, I think them roach migrate out. I'm convinced of it. They're just not there. They can't be there. You're fishing for a totally different sort of fish. You're fishing for rudd, skimmers, little hybrid like silver skimmer.
You said this all the years you've been doing the podcast. I don't disagree with you. I'm just thinking, what on earth happens to it all?
They all go. They all migrate. These fish we're catching now have been on a decent journey from somewhere, wherever they've come from, because they are absolutely starving. You know, they're so aggressive in the way they're feeding. You know, you can throw as much bait at them as you want when there's flow. And Sunday was a bit different because obviously we had a real sharp frost, the first one of the year. But the stamp of the fish is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Quality, you know what I mean? Everyone's brand new.
Yeah.
Or any ones that damaged have been pike damaged. They're not like hook marks or anything like that. They haven't got black spot. They're just beautiful fish. And it's frustrating, you know, same areas. You know, I've had a fantastic day's fishing in the allotments. I've had £34 and I've all of one is my section. You know, it's it's madness.
Wow, because the allotments used to be about £10-12 to win.
Yeah, but I mean, you're catching £34 and you think, if I've caught £34 here, what are they caught in the town? And
how many fish would that be? Roughly?
I probably had about 250 to 270. I don't count, but I would say that's what I reckon I had with the stamp of what they were. You know, the match started with smaller fish because it was cold, and then as the match went on, the fish got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just, you think it's gin clear, low. You think,
I stood on the bridge talking to Tom Moretti before the start, and he was pegged right next to the Health Centre bridge, and I was saying to him that was a really good peg 2 weeks ago because the rudd.
Yeah, well, again, you think no one's in the whole of the match. There's probably been about 50 rudd caught, and they're all small.
No way.
That's what I'm saying. Where people in them weights are all roach. You know, there's not hardly any proper skimmers caught.
But it was gin clear.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It is just a phenomenal venue.
It is phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good job that rudd and them other fish are there in February. Otherwise, it'd be rock hard. But so the individual winner was Danny Mason, which is his record at March is unbelievable. Unbelievable. How many matches he's won there, and you know, awesome. He's had £52.11. He's drawn an absolute worldie, the culvert peg. Even I've won a March Open off that, so that's how good it is. He's waited 45 minutes. I think he's had 5 little fish after 45 minutes. So it just proves that, you know, what the cold does. And then he's just caught on a whip all day. Thank you very much, £52.11.
Of mainly roach?
Roach and pommies or hybrids, silver bream.
Do you think, because obviously that's the end peg, isn't it?
It is, and the fact that it didn't flow this week, it stood still all day, makes a bigger difference for that peg. If it flowed natural to the right, it makes it a short peg. Yesterday, the fact that it's not flowed, his peg, he's got, you know, a mile to his left where there's no one fishing. So
is there a million fish snapped in there, do you reckon?
Oh, there's got to be.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Yeah.
What weight? Well, obviously, someone we know has got a house down Neem Parade, opposite Neem Parade, and it's just silly fishing.
I went down my life scope, didn't I, last year?
Yeah.
The year before, on the boat. You go nothing, wallop.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't see anything apart from
fish.
Yeah, the screen's full of interference.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Yeah.
Wallop.
Yeah.
And they're like pods of them. And I'm not talking, they're, I don't know, 30, 40 foot long.
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
So, it'd be nice if we could get down there. But that's that. So, Danny Mason at 52.11. Liam Darler, £44.4 off the next peg. So this is all at Wiggy's on the grass.
Did he wear a t-shirt?
You know, these anglers always seem to frame, don't they? They seem to draw the right areas. Yeah, same old faces.
There's a nice picture from last week with
Liam.
With his chip shop t-shirt.
Yeah. And then Neil Adcock, £41.2. So that he had a phenomenal weight. He was on the Willows, all big roach, great big roach. So he's like back towards town from me. Just past the windmill, or what we call the windmill. So he's still in the allotments. He's had £41.2.
What you'd call the scout?
No, I was the scout, so he's before that, in between the two.
Right.
You know, he's had a bit of room there, which obviously helps at March, but still £41.2, brilliant weight. He's on a bit of a roll with Neil. And then Dave Tebbett was next to Liam, again on Wiggy's on in the grass. He's had £39.10, all roach. And then Colin Oakman drew between Health Centre Bridge and what we call the bandstand. He's had £36.
Your dad was down there somewhere.
Yeah, Dad drew a bunghole. he had about £23, but they all struggled for a good 35, 40 minutes there.
Oh, bless them.
Yeah, they still caught those weights. There was I think a couple of 35s. I think Mist Underwater had £35.
I'll say that would be the banker.
Yeah. So phenomenal fishing, really. There was a few little areas where I think only £12 won the sections. What that was all about, I don't know. But there was like the low numbers, pegs 1 to 7 was one with about £12. But then you go in the middle of the narrows and Drax, well, he's had, like normal, he's had 5 miles to his right, and then the peg above him wasn't drawn and he's had £34. He's had to like phone someone to when the match was going to start. But yeah, there's fish in the narrows, so it's mad, really. It's mad.
Do you think there's more fish in the river this year than there ever has been?
No, I just think the fish are bigger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, are they the same fish?
I think they are, yeah.
They just come back?
Yeah.
So in the summer they go out into the sticks somewhere?
Yeah, they disperse in February and come back in probably end of September. They start moving. As soon as the light starts to go, daylight hours, I think they move 100%. Yeah.
Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it? I need to get out there and do a bit of...
There's plenty of predators about.
Yeah, Zander stroke perch fishing, because normally it's crap, but I think...
A good drop shot angler or predator angler would catch a lot of them little Zander, definitely.
Yeah. It sounds like it's good. I think I'm going to get out there and do a couple of videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good fun.
So, obviously, you mentioned at the start of the podcast.
Well, I was going to say, it's about time we went on to...
the chip shop.
Yeah, because several people have been waiting for this.
Yes.
I have.
Like I say, when we started the Chip Shop Award, this is the sort of angler, of calibre angler we wanted, because they don't get Chip Shop very often. One, because they probably draw M pegs all the time.
Tim Bates?
No, not Matt Page, not Neil Adcock, no.
Adrian Stokes?
No, he don't go fishing, does he? So,
I think he's this angler's #1 fan, though.
Probably, yeah.
Ooh, love you.
Yeah, love you, Polly. So, obviously, there's chip shopping and there's chip shopping, isn't there? I mean, obviously, weeks before we've given anglers it and they've only been beat by a few ounces. But this week, the angler on his right had £32.
That's a good weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the angler on his left...
Nice stamp roach.
Yeah, and the angler's left had £41.
Oh, that's another good weight, isn't it?
Yeah. But Mark Pollard, I think you've probably heard of him.
He wears yellow tops a lot.
That's it.
Yellow green things.
Yeah, he's got more Camazan 20+ caps than I've had hot dinners, I think.
Bit of a chipmunk. At times.
Not as prestigious as obviously having a chip shop T-shirt.
So what did he get?
He had about £28.
The wheels come off, mate.
Oh, mate. He's gone on holiday now.
Oh, purposely?
No, not purposely, but I think it's a good job he has.
So this comes out on a Wednesday. So, guys, can you message him? Can you all send Polly a message that you've seen the podcast?
After giving Anthony Watling all that abuse about...
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, about the size of his nose and all sorts.
Yeah.
That was really unfair.
To be fair, we waited nearly 2 years for this, so...
I think it's a...
Well, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's open season on Polly, guys, because there's not... Is that Pollard?
No. God, that's loud.
It's in the groundbait bucket.
Oh, that's why then. Can you still hear it?
So, because Mark likes to wind everybody up, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a proper serial wind-up merchant, isn't he?
So he might extend his holiday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can imagine the banter flying around after the match yesterday, can't you?
And how did he take it?
Very well. You know, he's one of them, he can take it as well. But I know deep down he was very angry as well.
So is he, he's not going to be here for the next round?
No. It would have been dropped anyway. But, you know, superstar signing. But yeah, no, he's...
it's tough at the top, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
He'd have been dropped.
So, yeah, no Polly this week. He's sunning it in Costa Rica, I think.
I reckon he's going to have an extra long holiday. He daren't come back.
No, we went for a Chinese last night, but yeah, it was funny Anthony was obviously giving it big, and you can imagine, can't you? He even asked for the salt and vinegar at the Chinese, and yeah. So,
but that's the reason why you started this award, wasn't it? It was yeah.
And no one's
no one's safe.
no one can hide. No, it's one of them, isn't it? So
you've got to embrace it.
Seen it all now, haven't we? Polly being chip shopped.
Yeah. Yeah, because he is, joking apart, he's an exceptional angler.
Mm.
So what section were they in?
They were near the windmill. Yeah, so that was obviously near Ladcock had £41 one side of him, and Jack Demant had 32 the other.
Not trying to make it, was he in a real tight peg?
He was on the best peg. No, it is what it is through there. It's March, isn't it? You know, there's every peg slightly different. But yeah, I'm sure he'll say he got it wrong.
Brilliant. That is funny.
Yeah.
So I bet it. Oh dear, I bet Tony Watling was loving it.
Oh, he was. After about 12 million times, he took this barbel every now and then. He'd mention something about a chip shop. So yeah,
brilliant. Right, buddy, are we done?
Well, I think we are. Yeah.
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 Well, it's been. I really like the silver bit. That was cool. Right, guys, send us your comments in. Give Polly a load of crap. And we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for listening.